Okay, next. I tried to do this live, and I do appreciate the 40 or so people that attempted to tune in live and sat there and watched 30 minutes of nothing, or music, or whatever. I keep trying to make everything perfect, and it's something I'm getting better at getting over, because there's no such thing as perfect. My experiment of trying to do this live meant I should probably... What I figured out when I was trying to do this live was... What I tried to figure out was that I couldn't... What I tried to figure out was that So, that's wasting people's time. Instead, I will edit this. I'm also making notes. So, item number 2 was live equals fail. You'd think that there being 365 and a quarter days every year, classroom with 30 people, it's pretty likely that someone else in that room has your birthday. It's pretty likely you're not, and that's all a statistical, mathematical thing. It's pretty cool. Okay, that's off the subject. Okay, I'm going down my list. I'm going to edit this all together into an excellent Karenware update, episode 1. Open source. My commercial exploitation engine somewhere in here says, don't give it away, don't give it away. Karen gave it away. Some of the issues about Karen were why it wasn't just turned open source. Well, the reason is, but anyway, education, open source, and get to know your RFCs. Now see, Karen, when she decided to start sending the newsletter, she wrote software to send the newsletter. So she looked up the RFC822 or whatever the number is, saw how to send with the simple mail transfer protocol, what the protocol is, and wrote software to do it. She didn't use, there was no control in Visual Basic that sent mail. See, I'm tempted, I need to send, need. I'm also trying to eliminate the words need, should, could've, would've, need. The word need, if I really need something, that's why I'm trying to reserve the word need for when I actually need something. I feel as though it would be good to start over again, because I get so frustrated with other people's software, and I've only been saying that I wanted to do this since 2004. And Karen had to die to make it possible, and I feel guilty about that. I do. I'm sorry to joke about it. I feel guilty using this woman's intellectual property, but I know for a fact that she doesn't mind. I don't know for a fact that she doesn't mind, but I know pretty sure that she would not mind. And I have, the only reason I've been trusted with this is because Terry knows that. And she's had more faith in me and Karen had more faith in me than I had in myself at many times. So there's a lot going on. Over the last almost 20 years, I've had to learn to learn that I'm not a master of the universe. That everything isn't going to be fantastically commercially awesome. That I've learned that no matter what I actually need, it always comes. It always has. I can give you a big head. Tell you what, you start seeing the universe unroll for you, it'll pop you right in the head if you start getting a big head about it, thinking you got some sort of special status or some shit just because you notice cool things going on around you, for you even. Maybe I'm just choosing to notice it, whatever. I'm thankful. And I believe that part of my role here is to help people just notice the natural that's not super, that's happening all around them. People of faith, it's hard to say what you feel and what parts are you and what parts are God or the universe or whatever. And is my motivation an appetite? But appetites are God too, are natural. You know, you can't second that. It's impossible to second guess God. You know, it's logically ridiculous. It's not even. I mean, if you want to think of it as a respect thing, I don't look at it that way. But you know, because it's like, you know, your great grandfather, when a 4-year-old disrespects a great grandfather, the great grandfather doesn't go, you know, it's a 4-year-old. And in this case, we're talking about human beings that we see this and it's awesome, but we don't recognize whatever. I'm also trying to differentiate when I'm expounding, when I'm just making stuff up, when I'm dreaming, when I'm trying to quote facts. I have a habit of making jokes because I'm uncomfortable. I used to experience some social anxiety. A lot of people think, oh, you're so outgoing. That is me trying to avoid that's me dealing. I'm trying to not describe any malady. Don't want to describe maladies. Don't want to spread it on. When you think about something you don't want, you're thinking about it. I'm not saying ignore it. That's another frustration of mine, are positive thinkers who just block out the world. Sometimes you got to do that. It can be very frustrating if you're in the middle of an emergency and somebody's blocking out the world with being positive thoughts. But, you know, there really aren't any emergencies. Even dying's not an emergency. It's an inconvenience for the people around you. It's not a problem for you. I hope. So, Joe, are you a preacher? No, I'm not. I'm not religious. I might be a preacher. I hope you don't think I'm preaching, because I've made every mistake in the book. I can't tell you how to live your life. You probably aren't real thrilled about how I'm living mine. Well, I don't know. You might be. I fished this morning during breakfast. I almost caught a fish the second cast. First catch, I caught some green moss stuff. And that reminds me, I'm going to go down and rake the shore a little bit. You know, well, actually, I should ask down her lake a little bit. Greg, this is Greg's land. Well, whatever. The lake turns over, some plants on the bottom die. The plants that were attached to the bottom, they float up to the top, and their tops, all the green parts fall off, and they'll float to one end of the lake or the other. It's all natural, and it's really cool, and they'll eventually go away, but I was thinking so I could see the turtles more, I might use a rake and just move them, you know, maybe out of the water. But do you understand what I'm doing? You understand what I'm doing? Instead of going in there and programming or editing this video and sending it and putting myself on the line and finding out that nobody watched it, which is what happens most of the time on my own channel, because I'm not trying that hard. Well, there's like 400 subscribers already on Karenware. The number of newsletter subscribers continues to go down, but it's distilling into the people who aren't completely irritated by me yet. I want to write software that people can trust. I want to write software that I can trust, and I want it to be inside out. I don't mean open source, because open source, you cannot necessarily trust open source. You cannot think that someone would have found out that they were using this software to spy on us. I'm not saying they are. See, I also don't want to feed into conspiracy theories. The things that I'm worried about are things that people shouldn't be worried about. Unless you're a computer scientist, or unless you're a sociologist, or think about this. Just, don't chill. We're all going to be good. We're human beings. We've gone through some terrible times, and we're going to get through this information technology revolution for sure. For sure. Okay, kids are growing up today that they're thinking about solutions about these things. But my goal is to have a line, and this is not a Karenware thing. It might be Karenware software. Okay, I'm gonna have to edit this. I don't like rough edits, but part of the reason I can't change Karen's license is because Karen wrote her license when she was alive. She died with the business being a sole proprietorship. Left it in her paperwork. They found it in the will. She left it to somebody. And for me to change the license, there needs to be, in my mind, there needs to be some sort of logical basis for me because I can't change Karen's license. I don't own this intellectual property. She licenses it for a fee. I've changed the fee from time to time. So the logical thing to do would be to accumulate some money, buy the intellectual property from these ladies who want to retire or something, make sure that they have some money so they can stop working, and then change the license. I'm concerned about I was concerned about branding the name Karen and how Karen's supposed to be something bad now, and that's just crap. I'd like to bring back the name Karen. Two of my favorite people in the world have been named Karen. Gosh, I think one of my favorite teachers, Mrs. Loper, might have been named Karen. Karen Loper. See ya.